Okay, so on slide number 9, the question is, what makes an effective conclusion? Respect your time limit. It should take approximately, actually half the time as the intro. I don't want you to think that the ending is less important than the beginning. Actually, it's the last thing that comes out of your mouth. It's the last thing people hear before they leave. You want them to go away remembering something. So I call it a memorable conclusion. Anybody can say, well, that's it, folks. No, that's not a good conclusion. So briefly summarize most important points, like I mentioned in the last slide. Close with impact. Like I said, this is the last thing they're going to hear. This is your last chance to inform somebody. It's your last chance to persuade somebody. Very important. Tell the ending of that story, or tell a complete brief story at the end. Use an aphorism, a proverb, or a quotation. A reference to a rhetorical situation. Again, these rhetorical statements, the rhetorical questions and rhetorical situations can get you into some trouble with the audience. A rhetorical situation is not too bad. It can be, so imagine yourself in this situation of not knowing how to recognize that someone has an eating disorder. We've talked about those. It's important for you to know that so that you can help your friends if they need help, that sort of thing. Return to the opening. This is called a clincher at the end. When you give some statement full of impact that's going to hit them in the gut, they're really going to remember you. Your attention getter should refer back to your, what did I say? Your clincher, I'm sorry, your clincher should refer back to your attention getter. They should create a complete circle. So use the same theme and go back to it, but finish it with a pow or with a call to action. If you're trying to persuade somebody about something, you want, this is your last chance to convince them. Ask them to do something. Ask them to go vote. Ask them to donate to this organization. Go ahead and ask for it. All right? But don't forget that this is so important at the end. Do not say, well, that's all I have today. No. And after you do this clincher, that's it. No thank you. No, well, that was Susan Serapin for you today. No, that's it. The clincher, that's what clincher means. It's that last thing that grabs them. You can nod your head, walk back to your seat. All right? So let's talk a little bit more about this clincher. It's a 1 to 2 sentence statement that provides a sense of closure. This is usually accomplished by providing one of the attention getters discussed earlier, but in a different format. You can also refer back to your attention getter to give a nice bookend effect. You've now, your speech is between these bookends. It's complete. You didn't leave anything hanging. If doing a persuasive speech, you can leave your audience with a call to action that describes the behavior you want your listeners to follow. Not in an informational speech. You are not trying to persuade anybody. You're not asking anybody to do anything in an informational speech. You are just providing information. Now, slide 11. Here's an example. This is an example of an introduction. Take a moment and think about 5 women in your life. Now imagine one of them having an eating disorder. This information came from Paula Kruger's July 20th, 2007 article titled 1 in 5 Girls Display Eating Disorder Behavior Study, found on the ABC News website. There's a smoother way to say that, better way to word that, to make it smoother. But do you see what we did? We didn't ask them, raise your hand if you know somebody who has an eating disorder. We want to say, now imagine one of these 5 women in your life, imagine one of them has an eating disorder. You see, I'm not asking anybody to embarrass him or herself by raising a hand. Okay, then go to the listener relevance, speaker credibility. Learning about common eating disorders is crucial because according to the same article, the number of teenage girls with eating disorders has doubled in the past 6 years. And when I'm stating this shocking statistic, I have to use my vocal variety. I can't speak in a monotone. This is unbelievable. In 6 years, this number has doubled. That's huge. Okay? And then preview of the points, thesis. So today we will take a closer look at 3 common eating disorders facing our nation: anorexia, bulimia, and obesity. That's your thesis statement. You're going to give your speech in the order of your main points. So today we're going to start with anorexia. This is a disorder that blah, 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 blah. Okay? Got it? Then the conclusion example. Here's our in conclusion. Today we have examined 3 common eating disorders: anorexia, bulimia, and obesity. Take a moment and think back to those 5 women in your life. How can you use the information learned today to hopefully identify and combat this growing problem? What can you do to help somebody get out of this situation? Okay, that's your clincher. And they walk away and they think, wow, I am now armed with this information. I can actually do something about it. I noticed this in one of my friends. I can help her. I can at least offer the help. Okay, I think this has been a worthwhile discussion here. I'm going to have a discussion question for you on this